prostitutes. And how we met is when I first started working undercover, I worked up undercover picking up prostitutes and making prostitution cases. My job was to make the prostitution case. Her job was to come pick the prostitute up and take her to jail. So we did. We met. I met her picking up prostitutes. Like I said, she don't like that story too much, but she's used to it now. But anyway, like I said, I've been in narcotics for 28 years. We work anywhere. We work anything from street level narcotics, where it's just a rock of cocaine on the street, or just a gram of methamphetamine, heroin, all the way up to kilos of stuff. I take it pretty personal because I've seen firsthand what narcotics can do to people that you're close to, and it'll destroy your life. In my 34 years of being a policeman, everybody that I've ever come in contact with has gone to jail. Pretty much every one of those, there was some kind of alcohol or illegal controlled narcotic substance involved. They're either stealing so they can get the money to go buy the dope, or they're high and they shoot somebody or something. But it's always involved. So that's why it's very important to stay away from, because if you get caught up in this stuff, it comes on like it's your friend at first. It makes you feel good. And then the more you do it, the more it takes for you to get that feeling good. And then before long, it just takes over your whole life. This goes, a story I can tell, this is back like in 85 or 86. This when crack cocaine first hit the Houston area. It hit California a little bit before that in the early 80s. It hit here about 85, 86. Me and my partner riding patrol not far from here, right down here off like Fondren in West Belford area, West Airport area. And we arrested this guy. He's buying crack cocaine. And I was kind of amazed because it was new out there. I was actually a pretty new policeman. I've been a policeman for 2 or 3 years. And I couldn't understand what the hold this drug had on this person. So I talked to him, and I spent, just explain to me, how does it make you feel? And he goes, officer, he goes, I can't describe it. He goes, all I can tell you is, if you brought me in a room and you had three tables out here, and you had this sitting at this one table, the most beautiful woman in the world, she'll be my wife, she'll marry me, and she'll be with me forever, and we'll be happy. And over here on this table, you got a stack of money. I can have that money, but I can't spend it on crack cocaine. That's the stipulation. Or if you got over here, you got this table, you got a rock of cocaine, I'm going to go to that rock of cocaine every time. And that said to me, well, that's too good for me, because if I'm going to leave a pile of money that's going to last me for the rest of my life, and I don't have to work, I don't have to do nothing, and I'm going to give that up for that one little rock that's going to last for 15, 20 minutes, it's too good for me. So that makes it feel like that, and then the more he does it, the more it takes to get that high. So now he's got to go out and steal, do stuff that going to go to prison. Prison's not a fun place. You think school's bad where you got rules. Prison is a whole lot worse. You got to walk down the line. You can't do nothing. You got to stay in that cell the majority of the time, and that's where drugs will take you. I promise you. If you mess with it, you're going to end up there. It may take the first time, or it may take the 100th time, but eventually you're going to get caught. So my job now is I don't go out and buy dope anymore. I've got a narcotics canine, and he helps me put the drug users, and not only users, but the sellers and everything, in jail. This dog here, it's my second dog. She can detect odors of marijuana, cocaine, methamphetamine, heroin. In fact, well, I don't think about methamphetamine. That's one of the worst ones. methamphetamine, when they make some of this stuff here, anybody know what like Drano cleaners for stopped up drains? They use stuff like chemicals like that to make this methamphetamine. And when you're smoking that, you're putting think about it, you're putting Drano in your system. That's just crazy. Look up when you go home today, just get on the internet, go to Google and put in photos of meth users. And a lot of websites will show you before and after. They get sores all over them. It's really disgusting looking. But just look at it, and that's what drugs will do to you. It tears your body up. But back to what I do now is I've got a canine, and this dog here, when investigators are out there and they suspect they're hiding drugs in a car or in a house or anything, they call me out there and we search it with my dog, and she can find it. I don't care where you hide it, what kind of odors you put in with it, the dog will find it. And you're going to jail. And if you're in a car and there's some marijuana in there or some kind of drugs, and you think there's nobody going to find it, she's going to find it, or one of the other dogs are going to find it, and you're going to go to jail. And that's not a fun place to be. How we train these dogs, it's a game for them. When they find the odor of the drugs, they actually think they're getting their toy. Because we start them out, we'll put their toy in a box, put the odor of the drugs in there, and we'll make them go sniff the boxes. And when they sniff it, make them set, and then we hand their toy to them. So now they're thinking that the odor is their toy. So they're hunting for their toy. But I've put out an odor out here. I'm going to bring the dog in a little bit, and I'll show you how she can hunt for it. And if she finds it, I hope she don't find none of y'all. I don't want to put nobody in jail today. So anyway, y'all have any questions about it? Y'all have any questions? Hey. Does anybody have any questions about it? Because I know if you live in this area, there's a lot of drugs going on in this area. I've worked out in this area since 1984, and I know the same spots that were selling drugs out in '84, they're selling drugs there today. So, does anybody got any questions before I'm gonna turn it over to my wife here, and she's gonna talk to y'all about. She works over at Rice University, and about the peer pressure. About you get caught there, you're done. Your schooling's over. Anybody got any questions? No questions? I see we're going to have questions. Okay. Like I say, y'all stay away from the stuff. It's really bad. Like I say, I know firsthand. You know, a lot of people think, okay, I'm just going to smoke a little marijuana. That's not going to hurt me. But trust me, I know firsthand. I know people that have smoked marijuana. They thought that I'm just smoking a little weed, just a little weed. But I promise you, it goes further because they go from marijuana, they'll go to something else, cocaine, marijuana. It always escalates. Always. I don't know anybody that it goes on and on and on, and it's going to ruin your life. It's terrible. But anyway, I'm going to give it to Officer Maxwell, my wife here. She's going to talk to y'all about some, and prescription drugs. We didn't get into prescription drugs. Prescription drugs are just as bad. Like Oxycontin, that's heroin. It's an opioid. It's a synthetic opioid. And it's a painkiller, and it takes more and more and more and more as you do it. And if you got a good job, you're gonna lose the good job. Because I know that firsthand. I know people that's had good jobs making $40 an hour, and they go out and take some of these pills or take some marijuana, smoke it. They got to take a drug test. They pass it. They fail it. They're done. They don't have that $40 an hour job no more. They're back to doing something for a lot less. So just, I can't stress enough to stay away from the stuff because it's bad stuff. But anyway, I'm going to give it to Officer Maxwell here. She's going to talk to you about some university stuff.
Okay, like my husband said, we met HPD. I worked there 10 years. Quit to stay home with the children. Got back into law enforcement, went to the university, thought it'd be cool because my kids could go there tuition free if they chose to. But anyway, here's the challenges I see students face. How many of you are college bound? Raise a hands. Who's planning on going to college? Pretty much the majority. So, I know you have peer pressure in junior high and high school, but the peer pressure multiplies in college. And you know one reason why? How many of you right now can pretty much apply this statement? If someone tries to talk you into using drugs or alcohol, you can say, oh no, my parents are going to kill me. How many, raise your hands, a show of hands, that you could say my parents are going to kill me if I got caught using drugs or alcohol? Anybody? So you can get away with that in high school and junior high. In college, you can't get away with it because they're like, well, your parents aren't going to know. They're not here. You only got to see them Thanksgiving, Christmas, and parent weekend. You can, you can stay clean those 3 days or whatever. So the peer pressure is greater. I'll give you a sample. Our campus is a wet campus, which means we do have pubs on campus for students that are 21 and older. However, our campus is dry during orientation week. That's freshman week. And they have this party called DISO at the end of O week. And alcohol is brought back on campus. Well, I had a freshman stop me. Well, actually, I stopped him because he was fixing to go urinate in some bushes. And I was like, you may want to find a restroom. And he's like, he gets on my golf cart and I take him to a restroom and we have a little chat. And this kid, straight-A student, all his life, his parents were his backbone, lived a very structured life. Come home, hit the books so that you could get into Rice University, right? Well, this night at this party, he was so messed up. He goes, the students call me Officer Ruth. He goes, Officer Ruth, he says, if they tell you drink diesel, don't do it. Don't do it. Now, who wants to drink something called diesel anyway? But what it was just a combination of different liqueurs and liquors and stuff like that. And he was pretty messed up. And he's like, I just want it to be cool. He said they were chanting my name, hitting and pounding on the table. I just wanted to fit in for a change. Because he never felt like he fit in high school because he was hitting the books. He was, like I said, he had a very structured life, partially because of his parents. You got to get into college. I'm sure a lot of you have that pressure right now. Your parents are like, you will go to college. There's no ands, ifs, and buts about it. This kid, he had to leave school for a whole year and go to rehab and stuff because that one night escalated into a whole year of him abusing alcohol. And probably drugs too, but I know he was rusticated. He went to rehab, he came back. It took him 5 years to graduate instead of 4. But if he hadn't gave into that peer pressure that first night, then he would have been okay. He would have graduated in 4. Some students aren't lucky enough. There's the star of the show. Some students are not lucky enough to honey, before you bring an eye in, we were actually going to offer you immunity. We were going to step out, and Nellie was going to step out, and we were going to offer immunity one time, not from your parents, but from any kind of charges being filed. If you have something in your pocket or on your person that you want to get rid of, dump it in one of these garbage cans and you have immunity. But we're going to step out right now because some of y'all were squiggling a little bit when he said he didn't want to put anybody in jail. We don't want to put anybody in jail. We are here to help you. We are here to educate you. So I'm going to step out for a minute before we continue. If anyone wants to get rid of something, get rid of it now. And we're not here. We don't want to see any of you go to jail. I mean, seriously, you have your whole future, bright futures ahead of you. And we're here just to educate you about the dangers of just even sampling it. I mean, you think, oh, there can be no harm. But the harm is you're giving the enemy, which is Satan, a big toe in your temple. God says our body is our temple, right? We house him. So when you allow drugs or alcohol to come into your body, you're giving Satan a little foothold in your body. And he does it so gradually that you don't even realize it's happening before it takes over your whole mindset. And all you can think about is getting that next pill or getting that next hit. So my husband touched briefly on prescription drugs. You know why people think prescription drugs are okay? And they're, in America, and even adults my age, they are more harmful than street drugs. It has your name on the bottle. Hey, it has my name on the bottle. It can't be bad. But when you abuse how you use it, then it's bad. And there are so many people, even at my age, that are going from doctor to doctor, because the doctors will write prescriptions like it's candy. And I know my son said in 7th grade that the kids all got together and decided they were going to go into their parents' medicine cabinets and dump all the pills into a bowl, and you just randomly, if you wanted, take a pill. And I'm sure y'all have those kind of peer pressures even at your age. But in college, you can go to the psychiatrist and ask him to prescribe you a bottle of Adderall or something like that. Guys, I'm telling you, if you don't need it, if you don't have a medical condition where you need the stuff, stay away from it. It will take over your lives. It will control your lives. The drinking, it too is just a little foothold for the enemy to get in there and take over your lives. So anyway, we're fixing to bring in the big attraction. Is everybody ready for Naya?
Yes.
Sit. All right, this is Naya. This is what she thinks she's getting when she finds the odor. This toy. Look at her. She likes that toy. That's what she thinks she's getting. All right, you ready to go work? Oh, she gets a little excited.
Now, he didn't tell you, but when she's in odor, her breathing will change, and then she will sit by herself. Notice the change in her behavior?
She likes her toy, doesn't she?
Yeah, you's a good girl.
Now, a drug dog report is a toy. What do you think a
Troll dog.
is?
Get out.
Troll dog report is a piece of your back end. So, you definitely don't want to do something that leads you to arrest. You run for the police and troll dog. They will get just as excited about your brain as that dog got about that toy. So, that's another reason for Guys, y'all are here in church, and I just commend you for that, because, I mean, that's where you're gonna find your strength, is in your faith. That's what's gonna keep you from these temptations and stuff like that. And then now, if you do fail, all you gotta do is confess. That's all God asks us to do. Confess our sins, and He is faithful and just to forgive us. Don't let Satan say, oh, you can't be forgiven for that. You're a disgrace to the family. You're a disgrace to this. No, God is a God of mercy and grace, and He gives us lots of chances. I'm not telling you to take advantage of those chances, but I'm just saying, don't let Satan trick your mind into thinking, oh, you're a washout. Students get rusticated if they have problems with drugs and alcohol. Rusticated means they get kicked off campus. They have to sit a year out usually, or at least one semester. So, you know, a lot of students are devastated by this because they feel like they're such failures to their family. You know what? You'd also be surprised, your parents. If you come to them and you truly are sorry, we're not much different. We love you guys, and we will forgive you too. We just want to see that you learn from your mistakes and you don't repeat the pattern, and you move on to a life that's fulfilled and you know, having a family of your own. I have one grandson, and that's the greatest gift my child could give me. And I'm sure all your parents out there are looking forward to that day when you know, you give them a grandchild. But if you're hooked up in drugs and you're in prison, you're not, well, that doesn't sound right, but you're not making babies in prison, is all I'm gonna say. So guys, stay away from the drugs, alcohol. It leads to a life of crime, it leads to auto theft, it leads to shoplifting. It's just, it's a dead end street. So really, yeah, there's, anybody have any questions about Rice University or in general? Yes, sir.
If a person is caught with the drugs and they go to jail, they finish their term and come out, and what is the chance of getting rehired to any job, because it's in their history, right?
It's a criminal record. It depends on the amount of drugs, you know,
Okay.
because there's classifications, you know, misdemeanors, but like some, well, actually, Griff can answer that question better. So you get out of jail, it's on your criminal history, but the classifications, because like methamphetamines are a higher classification than weed and stuff like that. What are your chances of getting a job?
Well, marijuana, you can get misdemeanor marijuana or felony marijuana, depending on the weight. But methamphetamine, heroin, powder cocaine, crack, any of that, a lot of the prescription drugs like Oxycontin, stuff like that, it's a felony. Plain and simple. More than likely you're going to go to prison. Now, the first time you may get probation, maybe. Depends on what you had and what you were doing. But for the most part, you get any of those drugs, you're going to penitentiary. And that ain't a fun place.
And when you get out, your chances of getting hired.
And when
in
you
a
get out,
company-
like, you got a felony conviction, you can't vote no more, you
carry
can't own a
firearm.
gun, you're gonna have a hard time finding a good job. So is it really worth it? In my opinion, no, it's not. I like having a good job. I like making good money, buying things I want to buy. I like to be able to go hunting, have a firearm. I like to be able to vote who's going to be president on city council. If you get that felony conviction, you can't do any of that. Y'all got any questions about the K-9? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. She'll be 6 in July. This is another reason. This is another way of saying that how important our drug laws and enforcing them are. How much do y'all think the city paid for that dog? Any idea? How much? $8,000 just for the dog. Because that's how she's a good dog. And then we spend another several thousand training. Once I get her, I got to go to training. So the city's paying for me to train with her. So it's a big investment, and we've got 13 of those dogs to help us in our narcotics investigations. So I hope whoever put that in the garbage can, I don't know who it is, but no, that's marijuana. That's marijuana odor over there. What it is, it's not completely marijuana. It's sponges we put in with the marijuana, so the sponges absorb the odor of marijuana. But as you can see, if you've got drugs, that dog will find them, won't she? Because it's a game for her. She got her toy. So nobody else has got any questions? Yes, sir.
So like, if catch someone like having like a kilo of cocaine in their car, they go to jail. Like, what do you do with the kilo of cocaine?
It's after the court, after it's been gone through court and it's not needed as evidence anymore, the case is disposed of, we destroy it. We take it out these big incinerators and we burn it. And it's one of those incinerators that doesn't go up in the air. It's one of those incinerators that reburn. The smoke is recycled until it's completely gone. And well, we do use some of. We change out our dope like every 6-8 months. We'll change out our dope. We'll turn in our cocaine because we actually got not only the sponges, but we actually got the drugs that we train with our dogs. So we'll keep some of it for training. But we've got a whole floor where our crime lab is. It's full. You go up on that floor, it smells like marijuana. Anything else?
You start to have a question.
What if a person just recently ate the drug? Can a dog sniff it out?
No, not if it's inside your body because the odor's not going to get out. But if the odor's in, you brought up a good point. Let's go back to crack cocaine. When I was out on the streets buying drugs, they don't just keep that cocaine handy in their pocket when they sell it to you. I've had them spit it out of their mouth. I've had people take it out of their private areas, both front and back. So do you want to take something that's come out of one of those areas and ingest it in your body? I don't. And trust me, I've had them come from everywhere. So it can get pretty disgusting sometimes where they hide some of this stuff. The bigger loads had it hidden in gas cans, in the gas tank of vehicles, tires, everywhere. But the main thing is, I don't want to put something in my body that come out of somebody else's orifices. So anyway, anybody have a question? I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to bring that up earlier about in the body. But anyway, back to yours. No, if it's in their body, they're not going to be able to smell it because the odor's probably not getting out. But odor will eventually permeate. We've had it in metal boxes, and it will eventually permeate out of bags or whatever. So it over time it will get out, but body I don't think so because it's going to be ingested and broke down too much. Anything else? High schoolers don't have no questions. All right, you got anything else?
Stay true to your faith. That's the best advice I can give you. That's gonna stay true to your faith because that's
I
gonna
want
be.
to ask you something. I hear people manufacture, the medications or amphetamine, whatever the code.
Like prescription drugs?
Yeah, especially in Texas, I hear people manufacture and then sell them to the children.
Right.
So if they manufacture them, how do you go by, finding the source? You are finding the people who use it, but usually these manufactured somewhere else in a house or somewhere.
We've got in our narcotics division, we've got squads. When I say squads, we got like an 8-man squad that works everywhere from street level stuff to all the way up to the high level stuff. We've got officers that work nothing but stopping trucks on the road that are suspected of transporting drugs from Mexico. Most of this stuff's coming from Mexico. Even the methamphetamine. There's still the meth labs cooking around the rural areas, but the majority of it, the Mexican cartels have taken over just about everything. So we've actually got investigators that work nothing but those cartels.
I think she's talking more about the prescription drugs that are manufactured here. So you're confidential informants.
Yeah, well, we got informants that give us tips on, this house here may be stored narcotics. And then we'll go out and do
So the
investigations.
prescription drugs you're talking about, but they can be also named by other people who is not prescribed by the doctor.
Right, and a lot of that stuff comes from China too. You can buy it over the internet. And just so you can buy it over the internet, and even like marijuana, you can buy marijuana over the internet. It's legal in Colorado, but it ain't legal in Texas.
Well, what about the pop-up clinics that, remember Sammy was working those?
Yeah,
And-
it's pain clinics. You know, you got the pain clinics, and that doctor, all that doctor is doing, he ain't examining you. He's going in there, you're gonna give him the $40 for the doctor visit, he's gonna give you a prescription.
So they have officers that work, doctors that write out illegal prescriptions.
Right, we've got one
They
squad,
have a
that's all they
squad.
do is prescription drug investigations. They'll go to these pain clinics and get that doctor to give them that illegal prescription.
And in Harris County, do we have places where they have rehabilitation for, people are caught in the first time, or, what kind of rehab?
There's a few, that's another thing, that needs to be addressed, because until we get hold of the demand problem, there'll always be a supply. So that's where we gotta, it's gotta start here like in these church groups and stuff, and community groups and parents and stuff. Because there's not enough facilities out there that people can go to that are reasonable. Now, you can send somebody off and go to a drug rehab, it's gonna cost you $30,000-$40,000, but still, those people, they don't really care, they just want the money. And that's another thing. Look, talk to you, when you see your legislatures and everything go there, it's a big problem on the prescription drugs. Because the same company that makes opioids, Oxycontin and everything, the same company that makes opioids, like the Oxycontin, that pharmaceutical company, that same company also makes the Narcan that reverses that. So they're getting it on both ends. So something's got to be done in our legislature. Our government has got to regulate these pharmaceutical companies better, because they're taking it from both ways. They're getting the money for selling the pills, and they're getting the money for getting the stuff that counter reaction. So it's crazy. So talk to your legislature out there. That's where that's going to have to start. They're going to have to change some laws on those pharmaceutical companies. But that's a good question, because right now pills is a big problem. Big problem. Anything else? Yes, sir.
Is the dog like your dog, or is it the?
It belongs to the city, but I take her home with me every night, and she lives with me, and that's another story about it. I spend more time with my dog than I do my wife, because I go to work with her 8 hours and I bring her home with me 8 hours.
And he doesn't want to retire after putting in 34 years with the city of Houston because he doesn't want to give up his dog.
Anything else?
What happens if you're driving and someone else in the car has drugs? What happens to the driver if you get pulled over?
That's going to be, it's going to be in the part of that officer that does that investigation, what it is. Now, if it's within your scope of reach where you could get it, you could go to jail.
Because you're responsible.
You're responsible for that car.
You're responsible for the car, and if your friend just flat out lies and says it's not my dope, and they ditch it under the seat, and it's in your reach, then the officer
It's yours.
has to hold someone accountable for
It's
it,
gonna
and
be
the
yours.
driver's accountable for everything.
So pick your friends
Insurance,
wisely.
inspection stickers, I mean, anything on that car, even if you borrow a car, inspection stickers out. They're not gonna write the owner of the car that ticket, they're gonna write you that ticket because you were driving. You need to inspect the car, make sure everything's up to date, make sure it has insurance before you borrow it, or you're subject to get a ticket. So, it's, yeah, same way with drugs. Guns too, firearms, so.
Anything else?
If somebody got caught for consuming the drugs first time, is it going to show up in their criminal reports, or is there an excuse time or something?
Yeah, you get that conviction, it's with you for the rest of your life. Now, you get caught, you get convicted, whether it's marijuana or prescription drug, if you got a conviction, it's with you the rest, you can't get rid of it. You own it for the rest of your life. What if you what? Like who's going to force you? Huh?
Like someone forced you to find
What? choose your friends wisely. That's not going to force you. Anything else? Yes.
Yeah, with the great network of your narcotics, so much effort from your department, do you see any decrease in the supply of drugs from your experience? Still, I think the drug problem is...
It's sad, but it's the same now as it was when I started 28 years ago in narcotics, because we still got a demand problem. It's like anything, supply and demand. If there's a demand, there's always going to be a supply. So we've got to like start right now, get rid of the demand. If we can get rid of the demand, the supply's not going to be there. Yes, sir. What's that? Synthetic drugs? Yeah, Kush. Kush is some bad stuff too. It's Spice, K2. I know y'all probably seen that around there. That's another thing. They spray this stuff with all kinds of different chemicals. You don't know what chemicals you're putting in your body. And I've seen people absolutely go berserk on the streets out there after smoking that stuff. It's bad, but they're selling it in the convenience stores. We've got one squad. That's what they do. That's all they do is worry about the Kush. We call it the Kush squad, but it's bad stuff. And they at one time we had a really bad problem. This is one place I can say that our state legislature did a good job. Is when that stuff first hit, they said, okay, you can't have this chemical in it, whatever the chemical long name. Well, what they'd do, they'd quit using that chemical and use another chemical. So now our state legislators went in there and said, no, any kind of chemical, so they can't just change the chemical. So they did help us out on that. I thought I seen a hand over here.
Is there any other dog in the canine unit besides the German Shepherd?
Well, this one here, the one I brought in is a Belgian Malinois. And most of our dogs are Malinois. My first dog was a German Shepherd. She's a Belgian Malinois, but she is from Germany. All our dogs come from overseas, from Europe.
But you have labs.
But we don't have any lab. We've had a lab before. We don't have any now. Most of ours are Belgian Malinois now. We've got a couple of Shepherds, but most of them are Malinois.
What are some of the signs and symptoms that they need to be aware of if anybody else is using drugs that need to be, they need to alert their friends or parents or teachers?
Well, a lot of it is they can be hyper, like meth. They can be real hyper. You know, they're real hyper. They're paranoid. Paranoid's a good sign. It's schizophrenia, just acting silly, basically. I mean, acting foolish.
I have a question. Most of the parents concern about their kids, about their youth going voluntarily, not going voluntarily to go into rehab or in detox. But in Texas, there is no involuntary committed program.
Yeah, there's some voluntary stuff that you can put. There's some out there. There's some that's free, but there's very few.
I mean, voluntary or involuntary?
Voluntary.
Involuntary, we have been taught.
Involuntary, you have to go through Ben Taub, and you have to get like through the district attorney's office. To hold them for a few days.
Methodist also has.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they're overwhelmed and they're just.
It's such a big problem. They're overwhelmed. There's not enough free stuff around.
That's a big issue for parents.
Yeah, it's a big
Yes.
issue. Yes, sir.
What got you into like wanting to be part of to narcotics and things?
Well, like I said, when I worked out here in uniform, that's when crack first hit, and I seen a big problem with the crack, and it's something that I just thought I'd be good at, So I started working undercover and buying it, trying to get the dealers off, and been doing it for 28 years since then. But it's just something. When crack hit, it was unbelievable what crack did when it hit here. Yes, sir.
those who work with the patients, and if a patient comes high under some drugs, are we legally bound to report it to the law enforcement, or?
No, you're not legally bound, no. It's a good idea, but,
Yeah, we send them to the ER if they're high.
yeah.
Now, you have your patient-doctor confidentiality,
Oh, yeah.
but HIPAA, you know. But now, if there's a domestic violence or a sexual assault or, you know, a gunshot wound, stabbing, you are obligated to call law enforcement on those.
All right, I know y'all about that. Oh, got another? Sure. Fentanyl, it's starting to hit here now. That's so powerful. What it would take in heroin to kill you, it takes like one little salt granule to kill you. And that's why I carry Narcan in my truck with me. Mainly for my dog, because if my dog is working and inhales it, it will affect the dog just like that. And what this Narcan is, you put it in the nose. It's made for people, but I can do it for my dog too. Squirt it up her nose, and it has a counter reaction. But if I'm out on the scene and an officer gets it or somebody else gets it, I've got that. I carry it around with me to treat somebody that's overdosing on opioids. Yes, sir.
What's the person you think the drugs starts to run away?
What's that?
What's the person you think the drugs started to run away? When he starts to run away?
To start running away
Like from a home.
from home? It could be any of them. They're all. I mean, it depends. The person that's run away, they may be a meth head, and they want to run away, or if they may be cocaine. There's no difference. Yes, ma'am.
Do you guys deal with date rape drugs?
I don't.
We do it at the
I
college.
think she does at the college, but in our division, we don't deal with that.
But yes, and it don't have to be a date rape drug. I worked a case last year, and like I said, the peer pressure. So we have this thing called the pub crawl, and the students go from, we have 11 dorms on campus. Well, this young lady, she was getting nominated to do something, so they wanted her to participate in the pub crawl. And what you do, you go to each college and you take a shot of whiskey, whatever the choice is of that particular host, and you have to make it through all 11 colleges. She was basically out of her mind by the time she got to like the 7th or 8th college. And one of our athletes seduced her. She wasn't able, guys, listen to this. This is very important as far as you will get kicked out of school so quickly. Someone under the influence can't condone sex, okay? If they're under the influence, they can't
Consent to it.
consent to sex. So you can't say, your defense says, well, we were both drinking, we got caught up in the moment, and she said yes. If the next morning she figures out that, hey, we did what? And she goes to the counselor, then Title IX, which I don't know about Title IX, but the Clery Act, they get all involved, and you get rusticated. You get kicked out of school. There's no trial, there's no jury. You just get expelled from school. So make sure that you don't get involved in that, where you, if you do get caught up in drinking, don't think that you got a green light to have a one-night stand, because if that person realizes the next morning that they did not want that, you know, just saying, save your love for your true love. Don't get involved in just casual sex, because casual sex can get you rusticated from school faster than anything else. And assault, they have zero tolerance for assault if you hit somebody or something like that in colleges.
All right, I know y'all gotta get going. This is the last thing. This is the last thing. Listen up. Look under your seats. There's 3 lucky seats out there. Look under your seat. There should be tape there's 3 seats that's got something taped underneath it.
One sec. Hold on. As a youth ministry coordinator, I would like to thank Officer Griff and Ruth for coming here and spending their time here and educating us and leading us with a faithful way how to live our life in and also bringing us our star of the day, Naya, to here. And also I want to thank Roshan Chatai for bringing them to here and giving us a good opportunity to listen and understand what they had to say. And we have a little token of appreciation to give you guys. It's not a big thing, it's a little thing that we would love to give you guys. And thank you for coming here, spending your time with us. And for you guys, we have some donuts and cookies out there. So we have a lot, so just calmly go get and yeah, have a nice day.